India Flight 182 was a passenger flight operating on the Montreal, London, Delhi, Mumbai route that, on June 23, 1985, disintegrated over the Atlantic Ocean as a result of an explosion from a bomb planted by Canadian Sikh terrorists. It was operated using a Boeing 747-237B registered VT-EFO. Passenger jet explosion off the coast of Ireland on June 23, 1985, that claimed the lives of all 329 passengers and crew members. Sikh extremists were accused of sabotaging the Air India aircraft, and one suspect was convicted in 2003. Flight 182 was en route from Toronto to London, continuing to Bombay, now Mumbai. After a routine stop in Montreal, where Canadian officials removed 3 suspicious packages from the aircraft, the flight departed for London as scheduled and established communication with Heathrow Airport's tower. But just 45 minutes from its destination, the jet disintegrated in midair. No warning or emergency calls were issued. As the plane disappeared from radar screens, Heathrow staff dispatched emergency rescue crews, but no survivors were found. Only 131 bodies were retrieved from the sea. The cause of the crash was not immediately known, but airline officials suspected Sikh extremists of planting a bomb on the aircraft. In the early 1980s, India was embroiled in violent civil unrest between Sikh and Hindu factions. 5 months after the disaster, 2 suspects were arrested. Canadian police believed that one of the suspects, Talwinder Singh Parmar, had masterminded the attack, but charges against him were ultimately dropped. He was later killed by police in India. The other suspect arrested at that time, Inderjit Singh Riyat, was a Sikh residing in Vancouver. He eventually pleaded guilty to manslaughter in connection with the bombing and was sentenced to 5 years in prison in 2003. Riyat previously had been sentenced to 10 years in prison for helping to build a bomb that killed 2 baggage handlers at Japan's Narita airport on the same day as the Flight 182 disaster. 2 other suspects, Ripudman Singh Malik and Ajaib Singh Bugri, were arrested in 2000, but they were acquitted on insufficient evidence in 2005. In 2006, a Canadian commission was appointed to conduct an inquiry into the bombing of Air India Flight 182. In its 5-volume report, which was released in 2010, the panel concluded that the disaster resulted from a cascading series of errors. In particular, it found that Canadian intelligence and security agencies had failed to share information with each other and had instead engaged in turf wars. On June 23, 1985, the Air India Boeing 747, named after the Kushan dynasty Emperor Kanishk, took off from Toronto for a journey that was scheduled to include stops at Montreal's Mirabel Airport, London's Heathrow, Delhi's Palam and Bombay's Salaar. After the flight number 182 arrived in Montreal, more passengers boarded to make for full complement of 329, including 22 crew members. The plane departed for England for the next leg. It made contact with the Shannon Air Traffic Control Center, but 5 minutes later, vanished off the radar screen. A bomb, sent via Vancouver, placed in cargo had exploded. Remnants of the plane were found off the Irish coast. There were no survivors. It has been attributed mainly to the terrorist outfit Babur Khalsa, while the Canadian Commission of Inquiry also mentioned the International Sikh Youth Federation. Sushil Gupta had expected to accompany his mother, Ramwati, on a vacation to India, but his father was unable to procure more than 1 ticket on the flight and he stayed behind with his family in Toronto. The then 12-year-old and his brother were awakened by their father that Sunday, and told that the plane his mother was traveling on was missing. That, of course, was Air India Flight 182 flying from Montreal to London, the aircraft named Kanishk, blown up by Khalistani terrorists on June 23, 1985. Some of its remnants were strewn over the coast of Ireland's Cork region, the rest sank into the North Sea. All 307 passengers and 22 crew members aboard were killed. Sushil Gupta recalls being very angry, unable to understand why someone would kill so many innocent people. Air India Flight 182 disaster, passenger jet explosion off the coast of Ireland on June 23, 1985, that claimed the lives of all 329 passengers and crew members. Sikh extremists were accused of sabotaging the Air India aircraft, and one suspect was convicted in 2003. Who was the killer of Air India Flight 182? Tanner Fox, 24, was sentenced on Tuesday by a British Columbia Supreme Court judge. Fox and Jose Lopez pleaded guilty in October to the second-degree murder of Sikh businessman Ripudman Singh Malik in 2022. What happened to Air India Flight 812? Air India Express Flight 812 was a scheduled international flight from Dubai International Airport, Dubai to Mangalore International Airport, Mangalore. On May 22, 2010, the Boeing 737-800 passenger jet operating the flight crashed on landing at Mangalore.